Worrying about money is not a personality trait. I used to think it was that some people were just wired to be anxious about finances, and I was one of them. What I didn't know is that financial anxiety has a very specific cause, and it's not how much you earn. It's the gap between how your money moves and how your life costs. Close that gap and the worry doesn't gradually fade. It largely stops. Here's the 12-month plan that does exactly that. Money stress has a particular texture. It's not always about a crisis. Sometimes it's the low-grade background anxiety of not really knowing if you're okay. You don't have a concrete problem you can point to. You're just perpetually unsettled. Checking your account a few times a day. Feeling a small jolt of anxiety when an unexpected charge shows up. Saying yes to things you can't really afford and no to things you want because you're not quite sure where the line is. It's the financial version of the check engine light being on. You're still driving. Things are still mostly working, but there's that light, and you're never quite not thinking about it. You've probably told yourself that this feeling will go away once you earn more, but most people who get a raise discover, within a year, that their expenses have risen to meet the new income and the background anxiety is still there, because the anxiety isn't about the amount, it's about the structure or the lack of one. Here's what 12 months of specific sequential steps can actually accomplish. A stable emergency fund, a working budget that doesn't require constant attention, a debt trajectory you can see the end of, and the beginning of a real investment habit. That's not a fantasy outcome. That's a realistic result of 12 months of focused execution. Let me walk you through exactly what each quarter looks like. If you've been anxious about money for a long time, despite making reasonable efforts, I want to name something that often gets overlooked. The American financial system is not designed to make your relationship with money easy. It's designed to generate revenue from your relationship with money. Credit card companies earn most of their revenue from people who carry balances, not from interchange fees from people who pay in full every month. Banks earn hundreds of millions annually from overdraft fees, a product that, according to the CFPB, is triggered most often by people in financial stress who are least able to pay it. Predatory lending, automatic renewals, deferred interest traps, minimum payment structures, these are all engineering decisions made by institutions to extract money from people who don't know exactly how the product works. On top of that, no one teaches this stuff systematically. There is no standardized financial planning curriculum in American high schools. Most people learn about money from their parents, which means that if their parents had financial stress, the patterns and gaps in knowledge transfer directly. The anxiety you're carrying about money is real, but it's not evidence that you're incompetent or irresponsible. It's evidence that you're navigating a complicated, often adversarial financial landscape with incomplete information. A plan changes that. Not because a plan is magic, but because knowing what comes next specifically and in sequence is what removes the underlying uncertainty that generates the anxiety in the first place. Here's the 12-month plan. 4 quarters, each with a primary focus. You're building each layer on top of the one before it. Quarter 1, January through March, stabilize. The goal of Q1 is not to optimize. It's to stop the bleeding. 3 things. Run your real monthly number, total income versus total fixed obligations. Find your biggest financial leak, 1 subscription audit and 1 spending category that's consistently over where you want it to be. Get to $500 in savings, not $1,000 yet, just $500. This is a minimal buffer that starts to absorb small emergencies before they hit your credit card. Why only $500? Because trying to save $1,000 while also fighting every other financial problem is too many fronts at once. $500 is a real psychological shift with a fast enough timeline that you actually reach it. Quarter 2, April through June. Stabilize debt. Now that you have a small buffer and you know where your money goes, you start attacking debt. Choose your payoff method. Avalanche if you want to save the most in interest. Snowball if you need the psychological wins. Pick one and automate. The goal of Q2 is not to eliminate debt, it's to have a visible trajectory and a payoff date you can actually see. Quarter 3. July through September. Build. Get your emergency fund from $500 to $1,000. Start or increase retirement contributions, even if it's small. This is the quarter where you start doing the thing future you benefits from. It feels less immediately satisfying than paying off debt, but this is where long-term wealth actually starts. Quarter 4, October through December. Automate and review. By Q4, you should have a working budget, a stabilized or shrinking debt load, a $1,000 buffer, and some investment contributions running. The Q4 goal is to automate everything that can be automated. Savings transfers, investment contributions, debt payments, and do 1 annual review where you look at where you started in January versus where you are now. I know someone who started this plan with $80 in her savings account, $11,000 in credit card debt, and financial anxiety that was affecting her sleep. By December of the same year, she had $1,100 in emergency savings, had paid off the two smallest debts, and had $430 in a Roth IRA. The credit card debt was still there, but she had a date, 14 months out, when the last balance would hit zero. She told me the date was what changed everything, not the money. The date. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. This plan sounds fine for someone who has a steady paycheck, but my income is irregular. Freelance, seasonal, hourly, the month-to-month variation makes this kind of structure impossible. Here's the adjustment. Instead of monthly budget targets, you work from a quarterly baseline. Add up your 3 lowest income months from the past year, divide by 3. That's your conservative monthly planning number. Budget everything from that floor. In months where you earn more, the surplus goes directly into a holding account that smooths out the low months. It's an extra layer of structure, but it makes the plan work for variable income, and it's actually how a lot of self-employed people with healthy finances operate. The plan isn't month to month. It's rhythm-based. You build around what you can reliably count on and handle the variation systematically. Remember what I said at the start. Financial anxiety isn't a personality trait. It's a response to uncertainty. And the specific thing that removes uncertainty is a plan with a sequence and a timeline. Not perfection, a direction you can see. 12 months from now, you can have a buffer, a debt trajectory, the beginning of an investment habit, and a budget that runs in the background without demanding your constant attention. That's not a dramatic transformation. It's a series of specific decisions made in the right order over the right amount of time. If this helped, subscribe. I put out one of these every week and they build on each other. And if you want to go deeper on the money habits that most commonly keep people stuck, the 8 specific patterns to identify and break, I linked that video right here. Watch that one next.